Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Toon Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for May 2021. I've been getting a couple requests for updating the Toon deck. I actually never got around to updating the deck when Toon Chaos came out. I just couldn't collect enough of the cards needed for the deck. It was one of the more higher rarity decks from the Toon Chaos set, but very happy with the results of the current deck I have here. I wanted to focus as pure of a Toon build as I could, so with it, like I said, the main focus will be a good amount of the different Toon monsters you can run, including our latest boss monster for the deck being Toon Blackluster Soldier, and all the other different support we received from Toon Chaos, along with all the other additional support we've had for Toons out the years. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the boss monsters, one of our big ones being Toon Blackluster Soldier. Running 2 of this card, it cannot be normal summon or set. It must first be special summoned from your hand by tributing Toon monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal 8 or more. And while you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toon monsters, this card can attack directly. Once per turn, if you control Toon World, you can target one card on the field and banish it. Also, this card cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. So they kind of got rid of the additional attack because they went really off of Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the beginning with this card than the actual Toon Ritual monster. So the fact that this card can't attack twice would be extremely broken, since they would be able to attack directly and then attack again, and the other one focused more on destroying opponent's monsters. But the banish is still great, and then just the easy way to summon this card out by tributing those additional Toon monsters just makes it for a more easy way to have your initial setup with some of your other Toon monsters in the deck, and they balance it with it being a level 8 monster, and some of our other Toon monsters being around the level 4 and level 7 category. Having to tribute those cards to summon this card out kind of plays into the ritual play altogether from this card's original form. I also run 2 Toon Dark Magician, one of the better setup cards of the deck. It cannot attack the turn it was summoned. While you control Toon World and your opponent controls no Toons, it can attack directly, like all the Toons that'll be in this deck. And then also you can discard 1 Toon card to activate one of these effects. You can special summon 1 Toon monster from your deck, except for Toon Dark Magician, ignoring its summoning conditions, or add 1 Toon spell or trap from your deck to your hand. We run a good majority of different Toon spell and traps in the deck, including the new Toon page flip and also the new Toon bookmark. So being able to have those searches just for more searches, or even just our initial setup of activating and searching out our Toon Kingdom, makes this a good card for that setup for just having different monsters on the field to use. And I also run 3. Well, I ideally want to run 3. I don't know where I put the rest of them, so just proxying in 2 original Red Eyes Black Dragon, but you want to run 3 Red Eyes Toon Dragon in the deck as well. It cannot attack the turn it is summoned. While you control Toon World, it can attack directly if your opponent does not. And once per turn, you can special summon 1 Toon monster from your hand, except for Toon Red Eyes, ignoring its summoning condition. So being able to summon out Toon Red Eyes and then also Toon Dark Magician can give you the setup to then have more search with Toon Dark Magician, or even just the tribute, if you don't summon Toon Dark Magician and another Toon monster, to tribute the 2 monsters you summon with Red Eyes Toon Dragon to summon out your Toon Blackluster Soldier, giving you more of a boss monster on the field against your opponent's resources. Both of these cards here are setup cards, so 3 Toon Red Eyes, and the fact that this card can be summoned with the Blackstone of Legend just makes it a much faster way to summon it out onto the field also. For some of the other Toon support, I also run 3 Toon Harpy Lady. It cannot attack the turn it's summoned, and having the direct attack as well. With this card, if you control Toon World, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then if you control another Toon monster, you can destroy 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. You can only use this effect of Toon Harpy Lady once per turn. While you control Toon World, it's able to attack directly, like I stated before. The destruction plays off of the Harpy Lady cards and their field spell, but more in the fact that this is just an easy special summon on the field for that setup, and being able to destroy your opponent's spell and traps while you control another Toon monster just makes it so you can summon a Toon monster, summon this card, and if it's another level 4 monster, you also have the tributes needed to summon out Toon Blackluster Soldier. So the best reason this card is at 3 is because it's just an easy special summon onto the field. I also, for some of the lower numbers for the Toons, run 2 Toon Mass Sorcerer with this card. If Toon World's on the field, is destroyed, destroy this card. But also just being able to, when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you draw 1 card. It's the draw power, while Toon Gemini Alpha was more of the discard power for your opponent. But being able to rely on Toon Mass Sorcerer for that draw power is why I like to run 2 of it still in the deck. I've dropped the numbers down since we have some better better Toon options in the deck since my last update, but still great for that draw power. For some of the other cards in the deck, I run 1 Toon Dark Magician Girl. You contribute to summon this card out by tributing a monster while you control Toon World, and with it, it can attack the turn it's summoned, so an easy 2000 attack directly against your opponent can be some pretty hefty damage against them. Also, another easy special summon is Toon Cyber Dragon, making up for more of the search. I don't have any problem running one of these cards just because we have plenty of cards to search out all the different Toon resources we run in the deck. Also 1 Toon Mermaid. It's basically Toon Harpy Lady, but just another special summon resource, an additional one along with the 3 Toon Harpy Lady we're already running in the deck. And also 1 Toon Gemini Elf, being basically the same as Toon Mass Sorcerer, except it has higher attack and more of a discard a random card from your opponent's hand instead of the draw power that Toon Mass Sorcerer provides. But like I said, only running one of, I feel that's all you need for these cards in the deck, with some of the more important ones being Toon Harpy Lady, Toon Red Eyes, and Toon Blackluster Soldier for the bigger number of monsters we run in the deck overall. And for the rest of the monsters in the main deck, I just run 2, the Blackstone Legend. You contribute this card to special summon 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, except for Red Eyes Be Chick. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, except for Red Eyes Black Chick, and shuffle it into the deck. And if you do, add this card to your hand. So with it, our main target with this card is obviously Red Eyes Toon Dragon, being able to summon this card on the field, and then have the special summon of any other Toon monsters we may have on the field using Red Eyes Toon Dragon, using this card for that setup. I feel it's all you need for it. We can rely on the Toon spells for a good number of other setup that we use in the deck. But that is it for the main deck monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. For one of our main go-to spells, I run 3 Toon Kingdom. I have 2 of the alties, hoping to get 1 more to complete my playset for the deck. But with it, when this card is activated, you banish 3 cards from the top of your deck, face down. This card's name becomes Toon World while in the field zone. Your opponent cannot target Toon monsters you control with card effects. If a Toon monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish 1 card from the top of your deck face down for each of those monsters instead. So this is your protection, also counting as Toon World, meaning the requirements for all of your Toon monsters' initial setup. Having Toon Kingdom is just that protection, taking care of resources. There's not that one card that if it gets banished, then you regret and it messes up the playstyle. Even if your opponent does hit, Toon Blackluster Soldier, or, if you hit both of them with the banish costs, you still have other cards to go into for kind of a boss monster feel to rely on, and then the extra deck plays also. But 3 Toon Kingdom will protect your Toon monsters and just give you that play, and the fact that it's a field spell makes it way better than the initial Toon World being a continuous spell. I also run 3 Toon Table of Contents. With this card, you add 1 Toon card from your deck to your hand. It is not a once per turn, so you can run multiple Toon Table of Contents as well in the deck, just for the search power, and then being able to add any of the Toon cards, any of the Toon monsters, any of the Toon spell or traps we run. It's great for that option, being able to search out any of those cards, and then having, like I said, multiples in our hand means we can activate and get the specific plays we need, whether it be for the specific target to summon with Red Eyes Toon Dragon, or even just having our Toon Blackluster Soldier in our hand to summon out with the tribute costs. And I also want to run 3 Toon Page Flip. This is one of the more difficult cards for me to find. So if you don't have this card or slowly building the Toon deck as well and you don't have this resource, you can substitute in Mimic Cat, Comic Hand, you name it, any other Toon spells that just can be used in spot of this card. Even Toon Rollback was one I considered, but Toon Page Flip is a searcher for the deck, so a definite 3 of. If you control Toon World, reveal 3 Toon monsters with different names from your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one for you to special summon, ignoring its summoning conditions. Also, shuffle the rest into the deck. So with this, you have the option to grab and summon out a good majority of different Toons, even if you just reveal your Red Eyes Toon and also your Toon Dark Magician and then 1 additional Toon monster. You have all of that set up, and having an additional Toon monster, you can just get more benefits from that summon onto the field. This is the other special summoning I was talking about when going up against your opponent and whatever play they may have, because then we have just some other special summons to rely on along with those Toon monsters. And I also run 3 Toon Bookmark. You add 1 Toon World or 1 card that specifically lists the card Toon World and its text from your deck to your hand, except for Toon Bookmark. If a Toon World you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only activate 1 Toon Bookmark per turn. So more search power. That's what I love about the Toon deck. All these cards just work very, very well together for the search power. You can't search out Toon Table of Contents since it doesn't specifically say Toon World, but still being able to add Toon Bookmark off of this card is just search into search and thins out the deck more and more, so you have the proper cards into your hand before you even go for the banish for Toon Kingdom. And for some of the lower numbers, I still like to run 2 Comic Hand just normally in the deck. It doesn't have Toon in its name, but good for just taking your opponent's resources if you control Toon World. Equip it to an opponent's monster and take control of it, and it's treated as a Toon monster. If your opponent controls no Toon monsters, it can attack your opponent directly as well. So basically, like I said, it just makes that opponent's monster a Toon monster. So being able to use Comic Hand for that, basically, like I said, grabbing the opponent's monster and taking it, can then give you more cards to use with the extra deck. We run plenty of Link monsters. There's nothing specific in the extra deck, which I think it would be awesome if one day we do get a Toon Link monster. But until then, we can just rely on Comic Hand for just taking those necessary resources that our opponent might have not wanted us to have. And also, for the last of the Toon support, I run 1 Mimicat. If you control Toon World, add 1 Toon monster. Target 1 card to your opponent's graveyard. If it is a monster, special summon it to the field, or if it's a spell or trap, set it on your field. So this is just more resources. If your opponent has something generic in their graveyard that you want, I like to rely on the 1 Mimicat to add it back to your hand for you to use. And also, for some of the other one-ofs for the spells in the deck, I run 1 Terraforming. Search Power for Toon Kingdom. It's pretty self-explanatory there. Call by the Grave, shutting down my opponent's plays in the graveyard before they can make them. And the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. I really do like this card just because a lot of this deck rides on the success of 1 or more cards activating for protection. So being able to clear my opponent's back row and then use my own plays is why I like Harpy's Feather Duster in the deck. And that is it for the spells. We'll now move on to the traps. I run 2 Toon Mask. If you control Toon World, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Special summon 1 Toon monster from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to its level or rank, ignoring its summoning condition. So a more specific play, you'll want to activate this before your opponent goes into any of their Link plays. I might adjust the numbers of Toon Mask in the deck. Also, for some more numbers of the next card, which is Toon Terror, a counter trap. When a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated while you control both Toon World and a Toon monster, negate the activation. If you do destroy that card, you can activate 1 Toon Terror per turn. So definitely better for stopping your opponent's plays. If you wanted to mix and match the numbers, you can reduce the number of Toon Masks for more additional numbers of Toon Terror having Toon in the name. It's just another searchable card in the deck to make use of also. I also, to finish off the traps, just run the 1 Toon Briefcase. When your opponent summons a monster while you control a Toon monster, shuffle that monster into the deck. So the whole trap lineup can be mixed around. If you didn't want to run any Toon Mask, you can even try 2 Toon Briefcase and 2 Toon Terror, mixing around the numbers for both of these cards as those additional slots, having less restrictions on the type of cards your opponent may summon out against you. But at the end, that is player preference also, depending on what card you may want to use. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. Like I said, we run a pretty generic extra deck, just focusing on the different levels and different monsters we have for the majority of our plays. So 1 number 41 Baguska, 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Castel, 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 number 39 Utopia, and 1 S39 Utopia the Lightning. Like I said, the good majority of our monsters are level 4s, making it the easiest way to summon out rank 4 Xyz monsters. I do run the 1 number 11 Big Eye, playing off of Comic Hand, and our level 7 monsters, just being able to take even more of our opponent's monsters. If we have the Toon monsters on the field and then go into Big Eye, it's that much scarier of a play. And for the Link monsters, I run 1 Barricade Board Blocker for the recycle power of our field spell. Also 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Triple Burst Dragon, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Access Code Talker. This can ideally be Boral Sword as well if you don't have the Access Code Talker. And 1 Borreload Dragon. Like I said, generic Link monsters, there's nothing too specific that we usually go into. I just like to have all the resources available at my disposal, depending on what I may need to use against my opponent if they somehow get around some of my Toon plays. As for some of the go-to plays, one of the ideal ones in the deck is setting up your Red Eyes Toon Dragon. So whether you activate your Toon page flip and your opponent selects Toon Red Eyes and you summon it out into the field, or you can go the Blackstone of Legend play, like I spoke of before, attributing the Blackstone of Legend to summon out your Red Eyes Toon Dragon onto the field. So when you summon that card out, you have your special summon ready to go for that play, summoning out your Red Eyes Toon Dragon, and then using the special summon of your Red Eyes, you can then summon out your Toon Dark Magician, giving you the discard power if you have another Toon monster in your hand to discard. And don't forget, an easy special summon of Toon Harpy laid on the field can be an additional pop on your opponent's hand. But if you just discard the 1 Toon and add another spell to your hand, that can be the card that can then search out the other Toon monster you may want to rely on. So you can either add Toon Table of Contents, adding your Toon Blackluster Soldier to your hand, having the tribute right there to go for that play, or even just being able to add the setup if you have the set for your comic hand and your opponent has cards on the field, you could potentially take 2 cards if you control a Toon monster, equipping it onto that monster, taking that monster from your opponent, whatever that monster may be, and then if they have a second monster, you could overlay your Toon Dark Magician and your Toon Red Eyes into your number 11 Big Eye, detaching another material from this card to then take 1 additional monster from your opponent. And then you can either use those monsters against your opponent or even go into more extra deck plays depending on what you took from your opponent. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, I've been wanting to update the Toon deck for quite some time. I'm finally glad I got around to doing it, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.